With it believed that a WWE star will be done with the company in 5 years and more, my name is John, and you're watching The Wrestling Report. Mentioning the interest in AEW Collision following the show's debut episode last week, Dave Meltzer revealed on the Daily Update that Collision was the number 10 most searched topic on Google yesterday. Although the number was listed was 20,000, that would seem to indicate a good rating. I expected a good number with the debut of a new show that has been promoted for a month and CM Punk's return being heavily promoted as well. It's more about the staying power past the novelty, but all indications I had was interest in the show was high. Reviewing the segment between Becky Lynch and Zoe Stark from Raw last week, Bully Ray said this on Busted Open Radio. I don't know why the people are not more into Becky Lynch right now. I could say this: that whole heel run could have damaged her a bit, could have emotionally detached people from Becky Lynch a bit, because I don't believe that anyone has ever wanted to hate Becky Lynch. There's not a damn thing about Becky Lynch that is hateable. At least I haven't seen it. The 1 year that I spent with her in the WWE locker room, she was constantly smiling. So behind the scenes, a very nice, sweet, happy woman. When I see Becky Lynch come out to the ring as a heel, not only did we not understand what she was saying half the time, but we were popping for her entrance music. Yes or no? What has Becky Lynch ever done to say to truly make us want to dislike her? Talking about Roman Reigns still being an undisputed champion despite Seth Rollins being the world heavyweight champ, Road Dogg said on his podcast, I think we've seen now, speaking very currently, is the women's titles also have done the same thing. So you're going to have a world champion or WWE champion or universal champion and a world champion. I'm not sure where the names exactly lay now, and is Roman Reigns still undisputed? I think things like that are going to come out and are really intriguing to me. It's all intriguing to me. I love the new titles. They're huge. They're beautiful. But yet they're big and plain too, and I think that's tradition. Look, we all went the way of the big eagle and the big spinner and the big this and the big that. I think these go back to what a championship title looks like. Speaking of Roman Reigns, this was said by Ringside News about him having 3 title belts. BWE was asked by a fan about Roman Reigns' current hardware situation. The big question is whether the tribal chief will continue rocking 3 title belts. After all, that would be a lot to carry around in his luggage at the airport. The proven WWE insider tweeted back at that fan's question and replied that no, we dropping the 2 belt swag. That should indicate that Roman Reigns will trade out his 2 title belts for his new Universal Championship. Taking to Twitter to explain why he had trouble unhooking the Money in the Bank briefcase, Baron Corbin wrote, "Watching in college, I always wondered why it took so long for guys to unhook the case. Then I had to do it. In a ring on a giant ladder that's moving, bodies flying everywhere, the chains make you sway, and I'm not supposed to be that high. It's terrifying. That's why." As there are some AEW stars that could be seen as great additions to WWE, this was said by Ringside News about WWE not wanting to tamper with contracts. WWE is currently being extra careful due to concerns about potential contract tampering accusations by AEW and the ongoing legal battle with MLW, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. This approach marks a shift from the past, exemplified by incidents like the one Chris Jericho described in his memoir, where WWE openly courted him while he was still with WCW in 1999. The topic of contract statuses came up with Rush and Andrade El Idolo, with rumors circulating in Mexico. Rush's 1-year contract with AEW is reportedly nearing expiration, while Andrade recently stated that his June 15th match in Laguna would be his last in the area for the foreseeable future, despite AEW not imposing restrictions on his Mexican bookings. The situation becomes even more confusing when considering that Andrade previously mentioned his contract ending very soon, despite initially stating that it would run until June 2024. Additionally, there may have been extensions to his contract due to his time off due to injury. Last year, it was reported by the Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE had made contact with some AEW talent, a claim that AEW CEO Tony Khan later confirmed. WWE's current cautious approach may be a response to these past developments. With some outlets claiming that WWE had interest in AEW star Hook, Ringside News recently noted that we've heard a report going around that WWE is very interested in signing Hook away from AEW. Triple H and Shawn Michaels were both reportedly wanting Taz's son. We can confirm that Hook's name has not come up in any conversations like this. He is a contracted AEW performer and WWE realizes this. Speaking about the possibility of Chris Jericho being Sting's final opponent in pro wrestling, Bill Apter said on the Wrestling Time Machine, "I'm in Chris Jericho's corner on this one. I don't know if I want to see that match." And it's not that Sting can't perform, but I don't think Chris Jericho would be the right person. We all talked for years about The Undertaker versus Sting, something we all wanted to see, but I'm trying to think now in AEW who the opponent actually would be for Sting's retirement match, and I'm looking in my head and I don't see anyone there. Apparently, WWE had interest in bringing back a former NXT North American champion despite his legal issues and more, as Ringside News noted that Velveteen Dream was one of Triple H's favorite performers in NXT, but things derailed for him in a big way. His history in pro wrestling was marred with stories about cocaine abuse, arrests, and inappropriate conversations with minors. It seems that WWE was very close to bringing him back last year. One fan tweeted out to BWE and asked, "How close was Velveteen Dream to returning to WWE last year before the new incidents?" It seems there was a lot of talk about making that happen. The proven WWE insider tweeted back to say, "So close, the OGs remember my tweets about before." When it comes to discussions of splitting the rosters between Dynamite and Collision in AEW, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful said, AEW has gone back and forth about the potential of a roster split, with Tony Khan saying, "Not as of now." In recent interviews, we've since learned more about it. As far back as a month ago, there were preparations and details sent out in All Elite Wrestling indicating that there would be two distinct rosters for Collision and Dynamite. However, there were special exceptions to be made, especially for champions. The move at the time was met with mixed reactions internally. There were several wrestlers who weren't happy they'd be missing out on signings and independent bookings, which is something AEW has long looked at as a luxury, as AEW is the first priority on all of their contracted talents. However, there were some that were happy about the move as an effort to minimize the drama and backstage squabbles we've heard about over the last several years in AEW. Originally planned for a hard split, some on the roster were then told it'd be a softer split before being told that there would be some natural sharing between the roster. Warner Brothers Discovery sources we spoke to said that they preferred no split, but under the right circumstances, anything could work. We're told that the transfer portal trademark was supposed to be in relation to the brand split, but that they've tabled the idea for the time being. With AEW Collision's debut episode taking place in Chicago, Dynamite will stay in the area, with Fightful reporting that, as expected, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were not in Chicago for AEW Collision on June 17th. However, we've heard they might not be in Chicago at all, and that includes for this week's AEW Dynamite at Wintrust Arena. We're told that there were pre-tapes done to progress some of their angles, but that there's a good chance they're not in the arena. CM Punk may be showing up this Wednesday, though not officially announced. As of this weekend, those close to Punk claimed that he was planned for the June 21st show. With LA Knight being the betting favorite to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, Steve Carrier noted that we've heard reports that WWE hasn't landed on their Money in the Bank winners yet. It is reported that WWE is still weighing their options, but that's not the case at all. We can confirm that those winners were actually decided on 3 weeks ago. On his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T said this about Charlotte Flair's WWE career, noting that she's the star of the show. She knows it. Everybody else knows it. Fall in line. It's the best thing going today. You don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it. It's only fitting. She's the best at what she does, man. Wrestling is literally going to be something in her rear view mirror in the next 5 years, just because there's so much more out there for her right now. And I think she knows that too. I think she wants more. This wrestling thing for Charlotte Flair has been a pit stop or a bump in the road. She got the world in the palm of her hand. She could do whatever she wants. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.